inspiration. But, you know, for me, I find that we all inspire each other. And it's very important that people, when they look at individuals which excel in their chosen craft or profession, whether it's within WWE, whether it's another sporting event, or whether it's acting, or whatever it may be, maybe in business, that people need to understand that, you know, that we're all very much equal. We just happen to be in a different position with our state of authority. And I think that when we lead by example, but more importantly, we share life experiences with people and they realize that they're no different, then it's another ability for them to be able to connect on another level. Now, you all obviously have achieved so much within an arena stage and obviously within that WWE setting. If you want to tell, you know, the world within the world that I come from, with strength and conditioning, a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been, you know, wrestling for 10 years now, almost 10 years. July 5th will be 10 years this year. And I kind of been through it all as far as, you know, within sports entertainment and professional wrestling. Before that, I played American football. And, you know, with athletics and sports, I was always in the gym, whether it was, you know, concentrating on isolating body parts or, you know, building explosive movements and compound movements and Olympic lifts. I've always been in the gym, but it's pretty neat to be where I'm at now and to see the different like phases of training and fitness that I've gone through, and, you know, all the way from, you know, what you actually do into the gym to, you know, bringing it all the way to the kitchen and, you know, living it throughout the full day. So that's one thing, you know, a lot of people were asking me, like, what is this huge life decision that he's made? I think they're like really worried or, you know, excited for me. But this man right here, Neil Hill, is the man that was the huge decision that I made, and the big impact on my life that's been made thus far is the accountability that I'm held to now. You know, before, without a coach, without a nutritionist or a trainer, you know, it was all just based off of me and what I wanted to do with my fitness. But now that I have you and, you know, I'm taking it that much more seriously, it's just become a bigger pillar in my life now, something that I will definitely take with me in other fields. But I want to say, you know, as far as the success in wrestling, you have to dedicate yourself. Anything that you want to do, and if you want to be the very best or at, you know, at that upper peak of, you know, the field, you have to set yourself apart and how much dedication, how much you know, time you put into anything. And, you know, I've always, you know, done it within wrestling and athletics. But, you know, now I find myself crossing those T's and dotting those I's, looking at all the little details. And that's kind of what we do on a daily basis. You know, you know, the plan that we stick to now, it's definitely taken me to a new level. I feel good. You know, I feel like I'm looking better every single day. And hopefully, you know, pretty soon we'll be able to bring that to the wrestling stage and hopefully, you know, even further. The way we met was at the Muscle and Fitness shoot there at Flex's gym, the Dragon's Lair. And it's, I mean, from that day, I've been a new man, to be honest. And, you know, just the meticulous details that you have to follow. And it gets easier. I don't want it to sound like it's, you know, crazy hard. I mean, it just takes a lot of discipline and constant motivation. But when you really start to do it and you really start to see that progression, it's so rewarding. And that's something I've been able to do throughout, you know, my wrestling career and my athletic career. But I always felt like there was still that 5%, that 10% that, you know, I was leaving behind. And now that I finally picked those few percentages up, I just feel like there's no ceiling, you know what I mean? The sky's the limit. I've always felt that way, but now it's time to put it to work. You know, it's one thing to, you know, go through the mental process, but it's another to actually put it to work every single day. So
everybody can be good at something. And sometimes the things that we really dream about achieving, sometimes they're not achieved. And it's not because we don't dream big enough, because maybe we're just not at the right place at the right time in our lives. And I feel that obviously you'll probably agree, there's probably been multiple different phases that you've gone through as an athlete. I've spoken about, you're a real diverse athlete. You know, you're agile, flexible, you've got you've got stamina. You know, we're building upon, obviously, upon our aerobic strength and conditioning. And I feel that, you know, those things that we're building upon, and it's your hard work, you know, that I'm just a small part of the bigger picture that you created. But my point is, the beauty about fitness and health is that we can all apply ourselves. We can all apply ourselves to be fitter and healthier. And it doesn't matter where we live in the world. And I think that it's important that people realize this, because fitness is for everyone. It's not for just one person. And I think that, you know, I feel very blessed that I just happened to be in the Dragon's Lair on that particular day when you was shooting for Muscle and Fitness. And even though we've only been working together for a short length of time, I feel that, you know, there's a really good transition and a natural feel of, you know, athlete and coach. And I'm really looking forward to building upon that, you know, very, very much, Joe, very much. I'm grateful.
Yeah, man, me too. Like I said, I've been an athlete my whole life, been in and out of locker rooms, different sports, always been coached and was always like taught to be very coachable. That was something my brother always told me, is like, man, you just got to listen and apply what these coaches are telling you. And that's something that I've always kept in my regiment. But for a long time, you know, probably, you know, for the past, since I got into wrestling, I've had coaches and trainers, but never felt like that coach, you know what I mean? Like there was never, because it's such a business. It's
Yeah.
just such a business in our industry, that there were very few that felt like just, you know, a coach to me. And I'm glad to have that dynamic and that relationship back. You know, as an athlete, you know, my whole life, that's just something that I've been missing. And like I said, it really keeps me accountable. It keeps me motivated. It applies a discipline that I've faltered in the past. And that's something, you know, I've always been a good athlete. Like, I've always been a very well-rounded athlete, whether it was just football, I was able to play baseball, I was decent at basketball. There really wasn't a sport that I wasn't able to pick up pretty decently. So I think that's one thing that kind of hurt me a little bit within this field, is that I was able to rely on my athleticism, and my performance was, you know, as I was young in my performance, I had to learn, and I obviously had to get better. But as I got better and I got more knowledgeable about pro wrestling and just, you know, the psychology of what we do, storytelling, I was just able to lean on that athleticism and not worry about really just dialing it in and just making all the detail, you know what I mean? Just really just, you know, turning every stone and just doing all the every little bit of work that you can possibly do, because I was gifted in other areas that kind of gave me that, you know, that gray area to where I'd be fine, you know, and then you cover me up a little bit with a vest, and, you know, it just really gave me an excuse not to have to, you know, really put all of myself into this. So it's, I just feel great. I really do. Where I'm at, you know, the relationship we have, you know, I've talked to you more than any other person, I think, outside of the people in my household, you know, so you're the person I'm in communications with more than anyone else. And that means a lot, you know. I talk to my cousins, the Usos, they're twin wrestlers as well, that I grew up with. I talk to them just about every day. A couple others, but really, Neil, you're one of the most sought after people in my contacts list, no doubt.
Well, I do treat my athletes the same. So obviously, I come from obviously a strength and conditioning background, and I was very fortunate to excel in a lot of different sports. But that was because of my severity of my disability, which was dyslexia. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I spoke about a few minutes ago that everybody can be good at something. So for me, my outlet was sport, and sport, as I said, was something which was very equal. We can all apply ourselves, you know, to sport and health and fitness in some way. And it's just always been so important to me that the things that I can do, I have to apply myself. I really do have to apply myself. The great thing about working with individuals, whether it's an athlete like myself or an athlete from a different sporting background, or whether it's just everyday people or corporate men and women within the business field or celebrities which I work with, the thing that I love about my work is that they also keep me accountable to myself. They keep me accountable to what I need to deliver on my side. And then I feel like when you get that natural respect and transparency with one another, it just allows the picture to unfold. And I feel that, your progression and the way that you hold yourself as an athlete, as I said, you're a real athlete. You're a real pleasure to train and to coach. And I know that we've spoken about, obviously, we want to make sure that we're designing a program which is universal, so it gives us the ability to change the program when needed. Obviously, that you're going to be at a certain area of your MMA career inside the ring, and there's going to be times where obviously there's going to be some matches. We know that we have to build upon strength, power, and there's going to be, sort of wrestlers which are going to be more agile. So it's very important that we're dynamic in what we do. But I've got some great questions here, and the reason why I'm bringing these, because I know you've got literally millions of fans in the world, and I know there's going to be a lot of people who want your personal attention. I'm sure you wish that we could all give that. The reason I'm going to throw these 5 questions is because I was inundated with questions. I just pulled them out the hat, and then obviously we'll pick and choose some random questions on here as well. To a career in.
Well, I think, I always say, just depending on the age, finish school. I think I always try to put that first. As you can see, even in strange times as a pandemic, wrestling's still going. You know what I mean? And that's one thing. God forbid it would fall apart. With everything else going on, but the fact is that that's something that we always say. The wrestling business is always going to be there. WWE is always going to be there. So take advantage of your time and where you're at in your schooling and finish school. And with that being said, you want to find a good wrestling school. You want to find a trusted wrestling school with trainers who actually have been in the business, had some kind of success in the business, been influenced by good trainers themselves. And it's not easy, because when it comes down to it, this business is about money, and people are going to try to get your money. So be careful, do your research, and you're trying to get in this business, I imagine, to better your life. So you don't want to make bad investments, in a poor school. So I guess the best thing to do is try to find the most adequate wrestling school possible, because you don't want to waste your time getting bad information from people who just really don't understand this business. Because there's a lot of people that think they do. There's a lot of people that just swear they're experts on this because they've been watching it their whole life. And I get it. I've been eating food my whole life, but I'm not a cook or a chef. But you have to really try to take the time to find a very knowledgeable trainer and someone who's going to be able to invest in you and not just worry about taking your money.
Okay, I understand. There's a lot of great information out there on the internet when it comes to training advice and nutrition, supplementation, how to make the most of recovery. But there's probably 10 times more bad advice. So it is essential that, you guys and girls, obviously, which are inspiring to get into wrestling or some other fitness sport related exercise, really do your time, and you do to make sure that you do research and find individuals which have gained credibility from an array of success on multiple different levels. So I think it's a great answer, Joe. You've achieved so much in WWE, in the ring and the arena setting, but what do you still want to achieve in this industry as far as being an active wrestler on that day?
I mean, I don't think there's like an accolade, or there's not like necessarily a title that I take a lot of pride in being a champion, and the responsibility of holding a title and being the champion, and that respect that you get as the leader, and anyone who's a champion, it becomes very real in our business. As a performance, somehow it just becomes very reality based, and everyone treats you that way. I mean, I can't tell you the first time I won my first WWE championship, like the next day eating breakfast at a diner, what's up, champ? I mean, it really translates. But for me, it's just being able to just go out there, and especially now, I mean, I have no clue when we're going to be able to have major live events, you know, major gatherings. And that's always been, that's what it's all about, is putting asses in seats, gathering people, huge crowds, and creating moments. And there's nothing like selling out an arena, and when your music hits, they go nuts. I mean, the roof peels off. It's addicting. It's like a drug. It really is. And that's something that I love. I love to hear that reaction. I love to point, you know, press this button and make them go pop. You know, there's just something about the interaction of what we do, that simultaneous response of professional wrestling and sports entertainment, that is just, I don't know if you've ever been to a wrestling show, but if not, you're gonna, when we get back to normal, you are gonna be there, Coach.
I,
And
I
I
don't
mean,
I don't like to ask for anything from my athletes and clients. I'm not one to do that. And I've been very, very fortunate that so many of my clients and athletes over the years have done some really meaningful things, bought me some like beautiful gifts. And I'm also a very sentimental person. So to me, the smallest things mean the most. You know, I remember a present that Flex Lewis gave me. Obviously, you're a great friend of Flex. He gave me this pen. It was a hand-graved pen, and he gave that to me when he was 19 years of age, after him competing in the show that we did together. He won the British Championship, gone on to be one of the most successful bodybuilders in the industry, and has so much more to achieve. But my point is that pen to me means just as much as something which has more value, because the value in what the price cost does not equate to what it means on a sentimental thing for me. It means a lot. And what I was going to say to you is I would love to come and see, you know, a main WWE event. Alex said, me too, because we are fans of the sport. We've just not been in that environment for us to be able to go. And I wanted to ask you, but at the same time, I don't like to ask because I don't like to push the boundary. But it would be something that I would love to attend with Alex, and watch you and all the other amazing athletes and wrestlers, you know, fight out there.
done,
Because you change,
no
you
problem.
know, but you're also changing life better. I think that is something which is really important. And you also know that you've got all of these people which have come together to support WWE do get created. You know, even this live feed that we're doing now, I know it's the first one that you've ever done, and not the last one that you do, because you know, moments that we can share, and obviously you share your life experiences with all these amazing people which are jumping on here now, which I think is a great blessing. Which wrestler inspired you growing up, and why?
So, I mean, I've been asked that question, not necessarily like inspired, but my favorite. I come from a wrestling family, so there were many, you know, my father, my uncle, my cousins were all very inspiring and motivating for me. But as a child, my guy was Bret the Hitman Hart. He he wasn't a flashy character, you know. He looked flashy, I guess, because of his gear. He wore black and pink, and the pink popped, and but he was just like a workhorse type character, you know, a no BS character. He wasn't like, and we have very, you know, elaborate, vibrant, charismatic, you know, men and women that come through our business. But this guy was just so good at wrestling, you know what I mean? And he would, when it came down to it, if you needed a 20-30 minute main event, he was the guy, and he delivered every single night. And that's something I've taken pride, you know, in myself about, is being able to go out there and throw you 30 minutes every, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, if I have to. I did the 5-day-a-week schedule for a long time, and I can do it again if I need to. That's how good I feel. But I take a lot of pride in being able to, you know, that's, you know, there's something very valuable in having a performer that you can depend on, that can go out there and you know they can deliver you a half hour, hold 45. And I've done it before. I've held 45 minutes on a Monday Night Raw, no problem. You know what I mean? Send me out there for the first hour, I'll cover the whole thing. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of work. But I mean, to get to that point, you have to put so much time, and you have to learn so many different nuances and facets of our business. And that's something he was special at. And you don't see that. I mean, you know, there are a lot of, you know, guys at the top, you'll see that, but to be able to see it all the way through the roster, he was in a position where there were a lot of guys, you know, where he was pushed by, because there was a lot of great talent, a lot of older talent, because I don't want to, you know, take anything away from our roster that we have now. We have second to none, you know, some of the greatest performers, but they had a lot older performers, more veteran performers, journeymen that had been around a lot longer. And usually it takes about, you know, my age, you know, 30, mid 30s to get to that point where you're kind of in your wrestling prime. And Brett was just that, man. He was just a dependable performer that he knocked it out of the park every single night to me, and I loved him. And once I got in the business, I knew that's the kind of, you know, dependability I wanted to be able to have.
Cool. Inspiring. What does a typical day look for you with your pursuit of fitness? And what are your fitness goals, as in short term, over the, say, 12 months? And what are your long fitness goals over the next 3 to 5 years? Now, of course, I know this is a very broad spectrum, and these ideals may change, because obviously we don't know what the future is going to bring in 12 months' time. You know, you may be put in an environment or situation where your fitness goal has to change, because maybe the role you're going to be playing at that chosen time. But tell everybody at home, how does your day typically start from the time you get up till the time that you go to bed, after being a busy father and also...
Now, like you said, with the kids and everything, it is long days, not too much sleep. But, you know, once I get up, immediately we get to the juice. We juice some celery. You wrote the whole plan, so I'm not telling you anything new. Share with everybody here. It's important to get, you know, all these different nutrients in, especially to help your gut and get your digestive tract going. So the celery, I believe there's a bit of ginger in there, like a quarter of an apple. I drink that, and then I just, you know, from there's a couple other, you know, phases of supplementing, which has really been the big key, because, you know, as an athlete and, you know, someone who's been in and out of the gym his whole life, I've always taken supplements, and, for whether it's Vitamin Shop or GNC, I'll always, you know, supplemented myself to recover and, you know, to grow. But I don't think I've ever really done it properly. And having you in my corner has just really helped me with the timing and what I should be taking and stuff like that. So that's really been a big help. We do fasted cardio now every morning is a big key. 30 minutes of fasted cardio every morning after I do the juice. And then from there we get to the meals, and from there it's a long day of eating. It really is. And you know, to some it may be easier, to some it may be harder, and it may be force feeding, but we're doing 6 meals a day with a pre and post workout shake, which we don't count as meals. So 6 true whole food meals, and those are scattered out about 2.5 to 3 hours a day. What else? That's pretty much the basis of it. It's just not necessarily the quantity of what I'm eating, but just the timing of it, and just keeping it to where, you know, the interval of eating is much closer, and it keeps my metabolism going. I can feel it. You know, right now I'm already sweating, you know what I mean? So my thermogenics are running high. But yeah, I feel so much better, and it's just agreed with me. It really has. I mean, energy-wise, like I said, I'm not sleeping a lot. We have 2 new babies, which, there we go. We got 2 new babies out there. Whenever I did the Muscle and Fitness shot, we did a podcast as well, and that came out probably like last week or the week before, and everybody was going nuts, you know, finding out that I had, you know, new babies on the way. But yeah, they're actually here. We had them, you know, about a month ago, March 9th, and we do not sleep. You know this, Neil, but we do not sleep much at all. And the days, thank God for my mother-in-law. She rotates with us when she takes them at night, but we still hang out, and we try to, you know, spend as much time together. That way we don't lose that. So it's it's tough. It's not easy. And like they say, you got to have a village around you to raise 5 kids, especially with 5 kids, 2 sets of twins. But I've been blessed to be able to be in a place to where I can still manage all this, have enough helping hands to allow me to, take these goals and these fitness aspirations to the next level. It's not all on me, the fact that, my wife, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, all of our family has just really gathered around us and supported us. It's just, and they get it too, you know what I mean? They're on this ride with me as well, which makes it even better when we succeed, because the team, everybody comes up. So it's important for all of us that, we just knock this thing out of the park. As far as my short-term goals, I told you, I think, plain and simple, I want to look scary. I want to look like I can save the world. I want to get peeled and have all the abs. And I remember Neil told me the first day we met, I think you kind of already knew a bit of my, the goals that I was looking to do and the transformation I wanted to make. And you go, mate, we don't do second place. And I was sold. I was like, that, me either. Perfect. This is going to be perfect. So it's the same mindset. And, that's every day we're attacking to be, not just the top of the mountain. I want to be the whole mountain. You know what I mean? I want it all. So why not maximize? And I think I told you, I feel like I have 15 years, of prime physicality in my life, to where I know I'm still going to be, in great health and great, still able to grow, still able to train really hard. So I just want to be able to maximize my genetics and see where I can go with this thing. But by the time I hit 50 years old, I want to be able to look at myself and know you killed it. Every single day, you hit every meal, you trained you didn't miss a training session. I did everything that I could control to maximize, my opportunities and take advantage of the opportunities that I have.
Do you know what's great is that obviously that question that young gentleman asked that, but you didn't even have to think about what or how you had to apply yourself or what you were doing now on a daily basis, because it's just become second nature. It's just secondary. And I know that obviously in the beginning it was a little bit more challenging, because one of the hardest things about us as people are changing our lifestyle habits and then looking to do something different. So it's so important that, all of you guys and which are listening at the moment, is that in order for you to see change, whether it's on a physical or whether it's on a mental aspect, you need to instill changes in your life. Because without instilling those changes, without having a game or a very clear vision on what your objective is, then you're likely to. I was probably having quite a few questions off you. Hey, coach, how about this? Or hey, coach. But that's because you have a joint set of respect and also understanding, but also our vision is exactly the same. We want to see, I want to see you achieve the things that you. And as I said, we don't, second's okay if you live with second because you haven't applied yourself, and second's okay if maybe what we want in life is just out of our grasp. But for myself, I'm very realistic. So if you came to me, this is what I want, and I thought, this is not possible, then listen, this is not going to happen, Joe. We need to regather and let's just look at a shorter or a more achievable goal that we have to work really hard. Once we get there, then we assess and then we'll move forward. And even though you want the whole mountain, you want to be the mountain, you say that with pride. It's not arrogance. It's like the sense of pride. Listen, I am willing to work really hard at everything that I need to do to achieve this, just so it's in keeping for me. And I you saying something which kind of related to, you kind of related it like, no amount of money is going to allow me to achieve my fitness goal. It's just going to be relentless hard work and self-motivation. And that's the thing about achieving something on a physical level. It's achievable by ourselves in a methodical way, and also having a good understanding of what we're doing. So I think that's really cool.
That's what I love. Like, to touch on that real quick, that's what I love in this world, that you can just buy everything. We can order this, or like, we can't buy this. This is measured in the time and the effort that you put in. That is the currency here, is the sweat. The sweat is the currency, and that's what I love, is that there's no shortcuts. You know what I mean? This is as real as it gets, and there's something about that's just so old school. It's so like animalistic, hunter-gatherer type stuff. You know what I mean? That you have to go out and get it yourself, or these changes aren't going to happen, and that's what I'm in love with.
Cool. What drives you? Maybe you kind of indirectly covered, but what drives you as an athlete? Because within your profession, you get injured. We've spoken about obviously some of the injuries that you've had, and we've obviously had to design a program based around those. But what is it that actually drives you as an athlete?
That might be a two-piece answer. Like when I played football, it was dominating the next man. Like there was something, you know, I played defensive line, and within American football, you know, I would line up pretty much against one or two guys, and we would play anywhere from 50 to 70 different plays a game, like snap after snap after snap, like interval type. And it becomes anybody that plays football knows it becomes very personal, like a bit of a fight, a bit of a scrap, because you're going against that same dude every single time. So there was just something about beating that man, beating him over and over and over, establishing dominance. And then you can like literally see it go through their eyes into their soul once they know, like, God, this guy won't not stop. He's better than me. He's working harder than me. There's just something about that, you know, just being dominant in sports that I loved, along with just winning. You know, that was always just a huge motivator for me. But for what I do now, I think I touched on it a bit, was just the reactions. In our business, you know, people want to throw around the good guy, the bad guy. The only guy you don't want to be is the silence guy. You know what I mean? Is when you walk out and nobody makes any noise. So for me, it's just making the crowd as loud as possible, hearing that reaction just burst. And then not only just when it opens, but to be able to do it throughout the entire match. And then once you hit that finish, that 1, 2, 3, they go nuts. Either they stand up or they're already on their feet, you know. So there's just something about that that drives me to continue to want to, you know, just stay as healthy as possible, stay in the best shape possible, so I can perform as long as possible. Because like I said, there's nothing like that simultaneous reaction. I do this, they do that, and I'm in love with it. There's just something special about being the maestro, making it do what you want it to do. You can really, there's times where the crowd can be split, even in quarters, you know, where they're doing this, these people over here are doing this, and somehow you can just get them all together, and it's like one chant. It's hopefully we'll get back to normal, and hopefully I still got it when I get back, because I'll show you. It's awesome, man.
I'm going to ask you a couple of personal questions. You've obviously traveled intensely around the world. Are there any matches or any arenas, or more importantly, any countries which really made a massive impact on you, where it was like, wow, these individuals, they are so much into their wrestling. It's so good. Now, you'd probably say that it's, you get that feeling, with most of your events, but are there any kind of magical moments where you kind of said, wow, I was not expecting that kind of applause or interaction?
It is tough, because at times there's been like, man, yeah, the crowd is really hot tonight, and they're really special. But to be honest, I think that's just, it's strange, because like if you're a casual fan, or you just don't know anything about pro wrestling, then you just don't understand. But like, it's a global product. It's a global entertainment product that people really get behind, and they love it. And now that, I've been in this far into my career, just about every continent that I've been to has had those cities, those different markets. The UK early on, the UK is rowdy. They love wrestling. I think it's safe to say for WrestleMania, at least a quarter of the crowd, if not almost half of the crowd is from the UK. I mean,
Wow.
the you
Wow.
guys, yeah, man. You guys, I mean, and we have our own individual UK tour
Yeah.
that we used to do it for 2 weeks long. Now it's been cut down to about 7 days, 10 days at a time, just to help out everybody with their families and travel. But we dedicated a lot of 4 weeks pretty much, and then other little stops. We'd always hit the O2 in London and then bounce to like Singapore or something weird like that, like just a strange around the world tour. But I mean, we would put pretty much a month's time into the UK every single year. So I mean, like I told you, I've been all over the UK. I've been everywhere through England and everything. So, but yeah, to be honest though, there's been so many awesome places. Spain is always very vibrant. One of my favorite shows of all time. It was just a tiny little live event show. It was in Lille, France, and they were bananas. They were nuts. I mean, it was crazy because this was about 3 years ago after my brother had passed away. And this was one of my first like trips back to the road and going on tour. And I was still pretty heavy, you know, still pretty sad. And I was in like a 6-man tag team match. So I was out there with a few other guys. And sometimes there's just crazy magic because when you put all the characters together, the chemistry just happens and it just makes for just really unique it's amazing. I mean, I think before we even got going, this is awesome chance. I mean, it was just a really electric atmosphere. Japan is very, very cool. Tokyo is awesome. Mexico City has been, you know, crazy at times. Santiago, Chile was ridiculous a few years ago, like one of the loudest. And we did 2 nights in a row there, and it was one of the loudest, you know, reactions I've ever heard. They just, I mean, just going ape shit. It was awesome. All through the States, you know, up in the Northeast, all through, you know, up Boston, all the way down to Baltimore. They're rowdy. They're what we call like a hill crowd. They like, you know, they like to get real rowdy and give the good guys some tough times at times. It just depends. All the way down to like Texas, you know, Hidalgo, Texas has been just incredible. They're the opposite of the Northeast, to where it's like the good guys, you know what I mean? It's a very pure reaction. They root for the good guys and they boo the bad guys. It's just a very pure way of reacting that they do. But there's really, yeah, I don't think there's anywhere. I think maybe one of the more quiet places, and it's not that way anymore. The first trip we did to China, they didn't really know yet. And I think live events weren't like a big thing at that point, but we've been back multiple times now over the past few years, and just to really see them progress and really start to understand the flow of the show and you know how, you know, the etiquette of it, and just to be able to let their hair down and just enjoy it and have a good time. And that was really rewarding to see that over the years. So we're blessed as a wrestling, you know, industry. We have, and I'm sure you've seen it now, and I mean, all the way to this point, you know, we have very passionate fans like no other. It's a whole different genre of fans that we have. They take their passion for what we do and the respect for what we do to a different level. And it's like anything else, you know, like brothers and sisters can pick on each other. Our wrestling fans can pick on us, but if like an outside casual fan tries to say something about us, they will, I mean, like the people who hate me will come up and stick up for me. So it's kind of a big family that we have within this wrestling world.
I'm going to let you answer some of these questions because, of course, there's so many people on here to meet you and greet you on Instagram. I know that
the feed down here, yeah. So if y'all have some questions, let's go ahead and send them in, and we'll try to read them or see if we can. I can't tell you how many emojis. Hi, somebody said hi. What for WWE? Yeah. American flags. All right, so if you just keep the emojis coming, we're gonna have to ask our own questions.
So, have a look here. Somebody just asked, how are you handling quarantine at the moment?
I mean, as good as we can. You know, for I think someone like me who travels quite a bit and is always on the road, it's been very nice for me to be home. You know, it's almost kind of like a funeral where when you don't want to, you don't want to be gathered for those reasons, but it is nice to see all the family and everyone you haven't seen in quite a long time. So, the fact that we're going through this pandemic and we're losing people is terrible. We don't, I don't ever want to have to, find off time through this way. But since we have it, I try to take the most advantage of it as possible. And I've been very blessed to be able to, have a setup to where we can enjoy, our family and not get bored. But yeah, it's been nice because, like I said, we have 2 new babies in the house. My other set of twins are 3.5 years old. My daughter's 12 now. And I'm on the road all the time. So it was really crucial that we, eventually have some type of time to be able to be home and be able to invest a little more time with them. And it's really just been fruitful, to be able to be home. My boys, I feel like we've just really, solidified our little relationship and just had a lot of good times. So I'm very blessed to be able to have this time. We're all ready to go. I think, everybody's getting a little stir crazy and we're all ready for normalcy. We're ready to get back to normal. So, hopefully that'll happen sooner than later. But while we have it, I try to just take as much advantage of the family time as I can get.
You're in the gym at the moment, correct?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. The reason I say that, I picked up on it when you first came here. I could hear the echo, and I kind of thought that's probably the echo of the gym. There's a bad signal.
Oh.
So okay, it might be my end. Let me just see if it kind of like retracts itself.
It's we got UK weather going on right now.
Okay.
It's been kind of overcast and a little bit stormy today, so hopefully we can keep this connection pretty strong.
Okay. Because I can see that in the background, and if I remember rightly, that's the mirror that you took in your last check-in with me.
My weekly photos, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, I have to report in every week with coach and take shirtless pictures to keep him knowledgeable of what's going on with my body and keep track of the leaning out process, the gains that we're doing. So usually I do my photos right over here. So
can you guys and girls see me at the my screen is completely frozen?
Yeah, you're frozen and it's got the little, like the loading ring going on here.
All right, okay. Well, I'm going to let you just carry on questions, and I'm just going to sit back and listen to your answers because I can't see any questions which are coming up at the moment because the signal just seems to be buffering.
It's a lot of emojis. Who's got a question? Here we go. There's Flex. Yeah. Hello?
Can you hear me? I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Just waiting for a couple answers. A couple questions. I would definitely like to, I'd like to maximize my wrestling career, and while I have, while I feel good and my body feels good, my back's still holding up, I'd like to, spend as much time in that ring as I can. But I would definitely, I love to entertain. I love to create. There was something very special. I mean, obviously being on the Hobbs and Shaw set was very special. I mean, to be able to see Dwayne, Jason Statham, Idris Elba, Cliff Curtis, so many great actors do their thing and see them in their element. It was really inspiring to learn more. That's something I would just love to be able to just open up as a book and read up and just learn as much as possible as I can. Because I think like everybody, and especially in these times, you really start to notice how much you love movies and entertainment and just how much they do for us as community and society. So if I have the opportunity to learn more and better myself in that craft and, pick up acting, I would love to. Good question. What else y'all got? You're still loading though. We'll let you buffer.
I can hear you, but I can't put, because in a sense I can't see any questions. So you fire away, my friend.
Someone asked if I plan on being in another movie. Yeah, if the right role comes and the time comes. But, you know, after wrestling, I'd love to. What's your dog's name? My dog, she's a she. She's a cockapoo, and her name is Snuggie. I sent a picture out, and a lot of people asked me that, and I just didn't feel like we should send another post about Snuggie. And I get a lot of shit for her name, but yeah, it's Snuggie. She's a little baby. How's your brother Seth Rollins? He seems good to me. Seth's still doing his thing, evolving, just showing how good of a performer he is. Really picked up this Messiah thing and ran with it. So yeah, man, I love that dude. What else y'all got? More heart emojis.
Yeah, there's a lot of love for you.
Love you, Turkey. Been to Istanbul. It was great. Do you still? Yep, I still talk to Dean. We text here and there. You know, obviously he's busier than he thought he was when he was to achieve his goals and just be the best performer that he can. I'm glad that he's back in level wrestling again. That's the most important thing, is that he's happy. Do you like Ireland? I love Ireland. Of course I do. Been to Dublin and Belfast many times. Had many Guinness in Ireland. Ask Seamus. Drink way more Guinness than Seamus. What is my favorite movie? Probably, if I just had to throw one out real quick, Goodfellas. Do you miss the ring? I definitely miss the ring. That's another reason that I'm doing this, is because I had, you know, obviously due to the pandemic and just protecting my young family, I had to make a choice, and it sucks because I'm used to being on television every single week. But this is a great way to connect with you guys and to be able to, you know, talk to you and just keep you guys informed and at least see the face, you know, see my face.